Hello my fellow presenters. Okay, so in a previous video I gave you 4 hacks that I thought would be great for helping people keep afloat in London, and in this video I'm going to give you another 4. I should point out that none of the companies or services that I mention are sponsoring this video. I'm not necessarily endorsing them all, but what I am saying is the offering that they provide and why I think there's a case for you to at least know about it, because in terms of your own personal situation, there might be a great hack. Okay, so the first would be the Pret membership. The Pret subscription membership is a model whereby you can have up to 5 drinks a day. I actually have one of these myself, and you can have any made for drink. Now, when you bear in mind that coffees are now easily edging on nearly £4, you can basically get £20 worth of value every day in London. And what I think's great about this offer, at the moment, the charge is around £30. When this was launched during kind of the COVID era, it was £20. Then it went up to £25, and there was a lot of, kerfuffle with that, and there was a lot of kind of uproar. And now it's gone up to £30, and I still pay it, and still a lot of people use it because actually there isn't really anything else like it on the market. And I think what really stands it apart is the fact that there are so many Prets around London. I mean, they are opening all the time. And what it does offer you is, particularly as a freelancer where you might go from one part of London to another, you will often find there's pretty much always a Pret nearby. So if you do end up, which in a way for me has become the case, if you do end up now just kind of going to Pret because you're paying that monthly amount and you don't want to necessarily spend elsewhere, unless you're in a certain social situation, that makes complete sense. There will always be one nearby. It used to be the case that you would get made for smoothies, but they've kind of stopped that now with these things called coolers, so that they use kind of carton syrup like substance for the summer, which is a shame because I liked the green smoothie, but I can understand from a value standpoint why they're doing it. There's still, as I say, nothing else like it on the market, and it makes total sense. And also, you're maybe somebody that lives in a crowded house share, as most people do live in one when they move to London, so it's a great place for you to kind of sit down, do a bit of work, and just have your own space if that's what you want to use it to, or just have somewhere to go when you visit another part of London, because London always has so many different pockets, and it's just something that you can make a nice pit stop at. A pet peeve that I do have with Pret is that so many of their toilets are mysteriously out of order and not working. Sometimes there are legitimate reasons, because people can just be inconsiderate or about how much loo roll they stuff down the loo, and I get that, but equally I don't think they're quite as on it as they could be. Everybody needs to go to the loo, and I think it's really important they make it a priority to have one. I know that in one Pret in my borough, they mysteriously will always say, oh, the toilets are never working at the weekend, just because it's always so congested at the weekend with lots of tourists and visitors at this particular site. But it is Monday to Friday, and they just expect you to use one of the outside loos, which I think is absolutely terrible. This is all kind of a slight digression, I appreciate, but I think, people, it's useful to know these things, that especially when you're drinking coffee, you're probably going to need to go, but there you go. It's a great offering. It can save you a lot of money. I often don't subscribe or like the sentiment of when people try to say, oh, if you stop having your coffees on your daily commute to work, and you'll save this. I much prefer an option that will give you value and say, here you go, do this, and that way you can still have your coffee. It doesn't always work if you make it from home and then you hop on a really hot tube, and then the coffee can get colder, and sometimes you just want to get one near a place where you are at work, or if your workplace that day doesn't have one, that you can just pop out to somewhere nearby and there's one there. So that's what I always like about it, that particularly when I'm on any kind of site around London, there'll always be one nearby in most cases, so that's really great. And if you think about it from a monthly perspective, if you were to get even just 2 coffees every day, you're saving so much fold. So because technically you only need to get one a day for a few days of the month, and then you've kind of made it back, because when you think of like one coffee being about £3.85, so nearly £4, and so that's just over a quarter of the month. So it's still very well worth it. I do know of people that share their subscriptions and it does work. You just have to make sure that you, particularly if, between couples or people in the same household, technically it's something that you can do from a practical point of view. It works. You are only allowed to get one every half an hour. And it only works, just to be clear, on the made for drinks, nothing in the chiller. So basically all of their coffees, and it includes all their syrups. I like oat milk, so you have milk alternatives like oat milk, rice milk. But you can share your membership, but bear in mind that you have to make sure that it's not being used, the code 30 minutes before. I do believe technically it's against their terms and conditions and frowned upon, but that's the information for you there. I don't share mine. I often make good use of mine anyway. Okay, on to the next hack. Now, this next one, I have to confess, I'm not using it, but I think on paper it sounds like such a great idea. It's a relatively new concept, and I would be really interested to hear if anybody else has taken this up or knows about it or knows people that have used it that can provide any more feedback or reviews on it. And that is to sign up to an app called LTAB. It's a monthly subscription where, hear me out on this, if you think about going out to a London bar, drinks, pints are now starting to edge on in some places, nearly £7 in London, absolutely high cost. But to be fair, bars have a lot of costs. I witnessed that sort of firsthand when I'm comparing and doing my quizzes in the bars. What this LTAB offers is a membership where for £18.99 a month, that's at the time of writing, they will release different bars every night and say to their customers or subscribers rather, that you can go to any of these bars and get up to 4 drinks. The waiting time between each drink is 15 minutes. You can only get one every 15 minutes. They make a point of saying they're not about binge drinking and, to very much be drink aware. But you can go to any bar across London that they release. They always change the bars. Every evening there's a few. They'll often put something like £1,000 tab behind it. In some cases they'll put £5,000 tabs behind bars at random selections a month. Now, to be clear, I don't know how this corresponds with how many people are subscribed, how many people actually go. I did hear from one of my bars that tried it that it got so rammed. But equally, it could be something where even if you went to a different bar and even just one drink, you're making that money back. And you might be somebody new to London and thinking, I want an excuse to see a different part of London, discover new bars. And actually, I did see on the reviews of the app, or rather testimonials that the website uses to promote themselves, that people did say that they found it really social and they met new people. And obviously that's the website saying it themselves. But I think just on the whole, I'm fascinated by this concept, and it could be something that really takes off or backfires. I don't know. And it's something for the bar as well. They get a good payment and promotion. So if anybody has tried that, do let me know. I'd be interested to know if people have sort of turned up and it's no longer available. I wonder if it's something that you have to go to really early, but actually you can cancel your membership at any time and see how you go with that. I'll be really interested. Okay, on to my third hack. I mentioned in my previous hacks video that something that you could do is join a club or society for fitness in a particular sport or physical discipline. And I said that that could be a great way to save money on a potential gym membership, and you're getting great value for your money and meeting new people. I'm actually just extending that now for any kind of hobby or interest that you have, even if it's something like playing chess or, making, being part of a film club, doing 48-hour film weekends where you're given a certain task. There's a website that you can use called Meetup for different for these different kind of things. Perhaps you're a gamer. And one of the reasons why I think this can be great is because of not just the social element, and again, that you're meeting people outside of your work, but also you're filling up your time as a freelancer when you're not working and you're not sort of getting a lot of bookings, but you're making sure that you're sort of staying active, meeting new people, and having a chance to meet people outside of your work discipline, which can, I think, often inform the work that you do indirectly in great ways, because it just gives you another perspective, another outlook. Something that I do as well as my running, I'm quite involved in my union, so that is related, but equally you're learning to be an activist, so it could be something that you have an activist cause about, and you join a certain social or a kind of pressure group. Whatever it is, you'll make great contacts, and it can help inform your network, perhaps in your freelancer discipline, and just help you sort of stay afloat in London and just really feel like you're part of a full London life, so to speak. So there's pretty much something here for everyone. And number 4 relates to my previous video, and I won't go into so much depth on this because I believe I've already covered this in detail, so do please refer to this video if this sounds up your street, and that is seeing theatre for free as a seat filler. I explain in the video what a seat filler is, and I will tell you it's basically just somebody that goes to a theatre space to watch a show and make sure the seats are full. As a discretionary service, they can show that they've got a full audience. Maybe it's a dress run, a tech rehearsal, or it's just part of their normal run and they're not getting the numbers that they would quite like, but they need a full-on audience capacity to create that atmosphere and vibe. And it's not just necessarily just theatre either. I go through in my previous video of different services that you can use, how it often works. Sometimes there's minimal admin charges, but you often get to see great venues across London that probably you would otherwise not have an excuse to go and see. And potentially you meet new people again. And also there's the idea that you can see shows that you didn't think that you would have an interest in, but you're like, wow, that was just absolutely amazing. And I mentioned a couple of examples of that in the video as well. I'll be interested if anybody's taken that up and has given that a go. I think that it's a great way, especially if you have a creative freelancer discipline, it can help inform your work and overall theatre education. Okay, so there you go. There's another 4 London hacks for you there. Are any of those useful? Can anybody think of anything that I've potentially missed and that I should perhaps do a video on? I'd be really interested to know. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.